Hello everyone. So now we are going to discuss the next topic is initial value theorem. So this is a statement of initial value theorem. So the statement is, if z of un is u of z, then what is u0, what is u1, u2, u3 and u4. So this is called initial value theorem in Z transformations. Okay, so what is u0 formula? If z of un is u of z, then what is u0 is, so limit z tends to infinite, so u of z is called u0. Similarly u1, so u1 is limit z tends to infinite, so u of z minus u0, and u2 value is limit z tends to infinite, so z into u of z minus u0 minus u1 by z, and similarly u3 equals to limit z tends to infinite, so z into u of z minus u0 minus u1 by z minus u2 by z square. Similarly u4 is limit z tends to infinite, so z into u of z minus u0 minus u1 by z minus u2 by z square minus u3 by z cube. So this is a statement of initial value theorem for Z transformation. So if you observe here, so in the u1 u0 is involved. Okay, so in u2, so u0 and u1 is involved. So similarly in u3 u0 u1 u2, and in u4 u0 u1 u2 u3. So therefore it is a cyclic process. So without finding u0 value, we cannot find u1 value. Okay, so therefore, so this is a sequence. Okay, so when you want to find u1, first you have to find u0. If you want to find u2 value, you have to find u0 and u1. So similarly, if you want to find u3 value, so you have to find u0, u1, u2. So this is a cyclic process. So without finding the previous values, we cannot able to compute the next values. Okay, so this is called initial value theorem in Z transformations. Okay, so you have to remember this. So now we are going to look at some of the examples. Okay, now, so look at this. So this is example 1. So this is example 1. Find f0, f1, f2, f3. Okay, so given that f of z is 5z square plus 3z plus 12 divided by z minus 1 whole power 4. So you have to find f0, f1, f2, f3. Okay, so in the previous slide, how we are going to denote it is, so u0, u1, u2 and u3. So why we have denoted it other variable is, so every time they cannot able to give in f of z, u of z or something, so they will change the variable. So they will give you f of z, you have to find f0, f1, f2, f3. So sometimes they will give you u of z, you have to find u0, u1, u2 and u3. Okay, so it is not always u of z, sometimes they will give you f of z, you have to find what is f0, f1, f2, f3. Okay, so now look at, so we will find, given that f of z is 5z square plus 3z plus 12 whole divided by z minus 1 whole power 4. Now what is f0? So first we are proceed with f0. Okay, so first we are going to proceed with f0. So f0 is given by limit z tends to infinity f of z. Okay, so this is initial value theorem for finding f0 value. Now limit z tends to infinite, so what is f of z? You just substitute here, f of z is given as 5z square plus 3z plus 12 whole divided by z minus 1 whole power 4. So initial value theorem is like finding limit value. So that's it. So you are all aware of how to find the limit value. Okay, so limit z tends to infinite, z square, if you take z square is common, what you will get is 5 plus 3 by z plus 12 by z square, limit z tends to infinite. So now here z square in the denominator, z power 4, so 1 z square will get cancelled. So if you substitute limit z tends to infinite, what you will get is, so limit z tends to infinite, so 1 by z always goes to 0. Okay, so this you have to remember always. So this is, everybody knows this one. So limit, okay, so z tends to infinite, so 1 by z value is going to be 0. So therefore, since it is 1 by z or 1 by z square is 0, so 0 if you multiply with, so this is also 0, 1 by z goes to 0, 3 by z also goes to 0. So if 1 by z 0, what you will get is 3 by z also goes to 0. And similarly 12 by z square also goes to 0. Okay, similarly here 1 by z always it is 0. So therefore what you will get is the whole quantity is going to be 0. So 0 into, so whole this is a quantity is going to be 0. So therefore the final answer is 0. Okay, so this way you have to compute f0, f1, f2, f3. So this is f0 value. First remember, what is f0 value for initial value theorem is limit z tends to infinite f of z. Okay, so now look at, so we'll find next f1. So what is the f1 value according to, so according to initial value theorem, f1 is limit z tends to infinite, so z into f of z minus f0. So this is equals to limit z tends to infinite, so z into 5z square plus 3z plus 12 whole divided by z minus 1 whole power 4, and here f0 value is there. Remember, already in the previous slide we have find what is f0 value. So what is f0 value is 0. So therefore have substituted f in the place of f0, it is 0. So now look at, so limit z tends to infinite, so z into, so if you multiply with z, 5z cube plus 3z square plus 12z whole divided by z minus 1 whole power 4. So in what you will do is, you just take z cube is common. So what you will get is 5 plus 3 by z plus 12 by z square whole divided by z power 4 into z minus 1 by z whole power 4. So why we have taken common is, so our target is to cancel some z terms. So again you are applying same formula, so limit, so z tends to infinite, so what is the 1 by z value is 0. Okay, so here 1 by z value is 0. And here similarly, if it is limit z tends to infinite, what not only 1 by z, 3 by z also goes to 0, and 12 by z square also goes to 0. Okay, so therefore what you will get is, since 1 by z is here, so 0 into whatever quantity it may be, so it is going to be 0. So therefore the final answer is 0. Okay, so up to now we have find f0 value, f1 value. So both are going to be zeros. And now we are going to find f2 value. So now according to initial value theorem, what is f2 formula is limit z tends to infinite, z square into f of z minus f0 minus f1 by z. So this is a formula for f2 according to initial value theorem. So therefore this is limit z tends to infinite z square into, substitute f of z value. So f of z value is this one. And in the previous slide we have find already f0 value. f0 value 0 and also f1 value also is 0. So therefore we have substituted. So 0 by z is also 0. So therefore here f0 0, f1 by z also 0. So therefore we have only this term. So therefore, so this is a limit z tends to infinite. So z power 4 if you take common, 5 plus 3 by z plus 12 by z square whole divided by, if you take z is common in the denominator, so again you will get z power 4 into z minus 1 by z whole power 4. So now what you will get is, so I have same formula, limit z tends to infinite, so 1 by z is going to be 0. Okay, so now 5 plus, so this is a 5 plus 3 by z also going to be 0, I have told you already, and 12 by z square also going to be 0 whole divided by, so here, so z minus 1 by z whole power 4. So therefore this is, so z minus 1 by z also going to be 0. Okay, so here just look at, so something went wrong. So therefore what you will get is, this is 1 minus, okay, so this is 1 minus, so now 1 minus 0, so what you will get is, so 5 divided by 1, so this is equals to 5. Okay, so now this way you have to calculate what is f0, what is f1, what is f2. So now in the next slide what you will get is, so this is the answer for f2. now we are going to find the f3 value. So f3 is limit z tends to infinite z cube into f of z minus f naught minus f1 by z minus f2 by z square. So this you have to remember always, everybody. So without knowing this we cannot proceed further. Okay, so that is the reason why we have to find all f1, f2, f3 values. So therefore if you substitute f of z here, f0 value already 0, we have find already in the previous slide. F1 value 0, f2 value we just find, it is a 5 divided by z square, and if you simplify what you will get is, so this is value in the z cube into 5z square plus 3z plus 12 divided by z minus 1 whole power 4 minus 5 by z square. So if you simplify further and if you take, so if you substitute limit z tends to infinite means 1 by z tends to 0. If you compute all the things, what you will get is, you will get 23. Why? Because this is 23. So 23 minus 18 by z goes to 0. Since limit z tends to infinite, so 1 by z goes to 0. Therefore 18 by z also goes to be 0, and plus 0 minus 0 whole divided by 1 minus 0 whole power 4. So if you simplify further, what you will get is, so this is 23. So therefore f1 naught value 0, f1 value 0, f2 value 5, and f3 value is 23. So this is a final answer for f3. Okay, so this way we have to find using initial value theorems f1, f2, f3 values. Okay, so look at next concept is final value theorem. Okay, so final value theorem, the statement is, if z of un is u of z, then limit n tends to infinite, so un equals to limit z tends to 1 z minus 1 u of z. So this is a statement for the final value theorem. Okay, so remember everybody, so for one more questions you will get statements of initial value theorems, final value theorems. So these type of statements you will get for 1 mark. So therefore everybody has to remember the final value theorem statement. Okay, so now look at the example. So first example is, so using final value theorem, so find limit n tends to infinite un, and for un is given, so u of z is given by z square minus 3z plus 7 whole divided by z minus 1 into z minus 4. So what he has given is, u of z he has given. So according to, so final value theorem, what is our target is to find limit n tends to infinite to un. So according to final value theorem, what is the limit n tends to infinity un is limit z tends to 1 z minus 1 into u of z. Okay, so now we are going to apply. So by final value theorem of z transformations, so what you will get is, so limit n tends to infinite un equals to limit z tends to 1 z minus 1 into u of z. Okay, so this is a statement of final value theorem. So now we will apply the same thing. So if you want to find limit n tends to infinity un according to final value theorem, it is limit z tends to 1 z minus 1 into u of z. So u of z value is z square minus 3z plus 7 divided by z minus 1 into z minus 4. Now if you simplify this, so what you will get? So when you, what you will do is, so here z minus 1 is going to be cancelled. So here, so what is the remaining thing you will get is z square minus 3z plus 7 whole divided by z minus 4. So now what is the final answer for this? So limit n tends to infinite un equals to, so what you will do is, you just substitute in the place of z, it is 1. So 1 square minus 3 into 1 plus 7 whole divided by 1 minus 4. So this is equals to minus 5 divided by 3. Okay, so therefore, so this is a value for limit n tends to infinity un by a final value theorem. So you just remember, this is a statement of final value theorem. So limit n tends to infinite, so un equals to limit z tends to 1 z minus 1 into u of z. Okay, so this is a statement of final value theorem. Okay, so now we will move on to next topic. So you just try to solve those all the questions. So according to what we discussed in the previous, so everybody remember, so this is very important questions in the point of exam. Okay, so first one is, you just try to solve, otherwise you can contact me at any time, so I will give the answers. So first one is, how to find the Z transform of 1 by n using shifting property. Okay, so not by using definition, by using shifting property. Okay, so now listen to the second one. So find the Z transform of n power 4. So how we are going to find? So there is a formula of Z of n power p. So using that you have to find n power 4. So here listen. So first one, how to find Z transform of 1 by n using shifting property. So if you want to find using shifting property, so what is a un? How to choose un? So you will get 1 by n. Okay, so that you have to understand first. So how to choose un for 1 by n? So this Z transform of n power p formula is given. So what you have to do is, in the place of p you have to substitute 4, so that you will get Z transform of n power 4. Okay, so now third one, find the Z transform of -1 whole power n. Okay, so now fourth one, find the Z transform of n cos n pi by 2. So I have told you already, if any sequence is multiplied with n, what you have to apply. So this is sequence multiplied by n. Okay, so now we have discussed already. If the sequence is multiplied with a power n or a power minus n, you have to apply damping rules. If the sequence is multiplied with n or multiplied with 1 by n, then you have to go for another formula. So now 5, so find Z transform of n square, hence reduce Z transform of n plus 1 whole square and Z transform of n plus 2 whole square. So how we are going to find this? First, Z transform of n square already we know, already we find. So from this you have to using shifting property. So if un is n square, this is un plus 1, this is un plus 2. So you have to choose un is n square. Okay, so what is un plus 1? Okay, so by shifting property you have to apply n plus 1 whole square. So now what is un plus 2? So un plus 2 is n plus 2 whole square. Okay, so by shifting property you have to find the answer for the question number 5. Okay, so now last one, can we find u2 without finding the value of u0 and u1? So can we find u2 without finding u0 and u1? So no, answer is no. Why? Because in u1 u0 is involved, in u2 u1 and u0 is involved. So therefore without finding u0 and u1 value, so we cannot find u2 value. So okay, so therefore you just try to solve all these questions. If anybody having a doubt, so please contact me at any time. Now we will go for the next concept is inverse Z transformations. So like in the Laplace transform, what we did is, first we have find Laplace, then we shifted to inverse Laplace transform. Okay. Now the statement is same, similarly like Laplace transform. If Z of un is u of z, then Z inverse of u of z is un. So for example, like Laplace transform, L of f of t equals to f of s. Now what we did is, we have applied Laplace inverse both sides. L of f of t equals to and L inverse of f of s. Okay. So now L inverse of f of s is, so we will get this inverse operator and operator. So therefore f of t equals to L inverse of f of s. Okay. So this is already we discussed in your second semester. So L of f of t is f of s. So therefore L inverse of f of s is f of t. Okay. So similarly we can discuss if Z of un is u of z. If Z of un is u of z, then what we will do is, we will apply Z inverse both sides. What we will get is, so Z into Z inverse equals to Z inverse of u of z. Okay. So now the inverse Laplace and Z transform and inverse Z transform will get cancelled. So un equals to Z inverse of u of z. Okay, so this is a concept of inverse Z transformation. So from this, what I have to going to say is, if you without knowing Z transformation, so we cannot find inverse Z transformations. Okay, so we just now I will give the table. What are the transformations? What are the inverse transformations? So look at this. Z of 1 is Z by Z minus 1. So obviously Z inverse of Z by Z minus 1 is 1. Now Z of k. So Z transform of k is kz by Z minus 1. So therefore Z inverse of kz by Z minus 1 is k. Similarly, Z transform of a power n is Z by Z minus a. So therefore Z inverse of Z by Z minus a is a power n. So similarly, Z of a power minus n is az by az minus 1. So obviously Z inverse of this is a power minus n. So similarly, Z transform of e power a n also. Now here very important concept, you just remember. Can you observe something from all this? So if you observe one thing, whenever Z transformation formula, so there is a value in the numerator. Okay, have you observed this? In every Z transformation, in the numerator there is one value is a common, so that is called Z. So Z is everywhere in the numerator. So why I am noting this is important point is, I will tell you later when you are finding inverse Z transformation. So using this concept we are finding inverse Z transformation. So okay, so here also you can look at. Here also you can look at. Here also you can look at, and here also. Okay, so from this what I am going to conclude is, if you want to find any Z transformation, so every Z transformation formula contains Z is a common in the numerator. So compulsory. So without this, okay, so now why I am going to stress is, I will tell you later. For finding inverse Z transformations, so we are keep in mind this one. Okay, so remember, in every Z transformation formula, Z is common in the numerator. Okay, so now look at the another. Now, so some of another Z transformations which I have discussed already. So all this table, what we discussed already, I have listed in the table. So Z transform of e power minus a n, e power a z by e power a z minus 1. Obviously, Z inverse of this is e power minus a n. So similarly, Z transform of sin n pi by 2, Z transform of cos n pi by 2, and Z transform of n a power n, and Z transform of n square a power n, and Z transform of n cube a power n. So here also you can observe, so in the numerator everywhere Z is common. Okay, so why I am going to stress is, so I will tell you later. Okay, so now, so here also you can take Z as a common. Okay, so this is very useful. So why I am going to tell you, I will tell you later. So just remember, in every Z transformation formula, so we are having Z as a common in the numerator. Okay, so this is a Z inverse of e power a z by e power a z minus 1 is e power minus a. So now here Z by Z square plus 1 is sin n pi by 2. Z square by Z square plus 1 is cos n pi by 2. Az by Z minus a whole square is n a power n, and so on. So okay, so if you know the Z transform, then we can estimate what is the inverse Z transformation. So now, so just keep in mind here, only important point is, in every Z transformation formula we have Z as a common in the numerator. Okay, so therefore now we'll go for examples. Okay, look at the example 1. Find the Z inverse of Z by Z square plus 11Z plus 24. Okay, so now if you compare with Z inverse of u of z, so obviously u of z is Z by Z square plus 11Z plus 24. Okay, so first you have to find what is u of z. So once you find u of z, what you are going to do is, we have to go for partial fractions. Okay, so now a very important point, you just look at it. So why I have given in the previous slide why z is common in the numerator everywhere is, so this is the reason. So when by finding partial fractions, so everybody listen, so z by z square plus 11z plus 24. So what is the partial, so this is can be written as z by z plus 8 into z plus 3. So if you convert the factors of the numerator, okay, so denominator, what you will get is z plus 8 into z plus 3. But for in general, what are the partial fractions for this? It is a by z plus 8 plus b by z plus 3. Okay, so everybody remember here very important point is, in general the partial fractions is a by z plus 8 plus b by z plus 3. But what we have to erase, so since z is common in the every z transform formula, so therefore what you have to do is you have to multiply with z in the numerator everywhere. So when you are taking partial fractions, only extra thing you have to do is you have to multiply with z in the numerator. Okay, so why the reason is, in every z transformation formula we have z as a common in the numerator. So that is the reason why when you are going for the partial fractions, compulsory you have to multiply with z in the numerator. So this except z, the remaining thing is same. For the general partial fractions is a by z plus 8 plus b by z plus 3. But when you are finding z inverse of u of z, so what you have to extra do is you just multiply with the z extra. So the reason is, since in every z transform formula we have z as a common in the numerator, so that is the reason why we have did this. So now your target is to find a value and b value. So you know already how to find a, b values. So by compare both sides with the z square coefficients, z coefficients and cons. So when you are doing partial fractions, only extra thing you have to do is you have to find partial fractions in generally, and only extra thing is you just multiply with z in the numerator. So that is the extra thing you have to do always. So the reason I have told you already. So now once you have a, b values, what you have to do is you just substitute a, b values in the equation 6. So now you have to substitute a, b values here, so that what you get is u of z is minus 1 by 5. Since this is a constant, you can take it out, minus 1 by 5 z by z plus 8. So 1 by 5 z by z plus 3. So now once you have find a, b values, what you have to do is apply inverse z transform both sides. Okay, so for you have to apply z inverse both sides. Now z inverse of u of z is z inverse of minus 1 by 5 into z by z plus 8 plus z inverse of 1 by 5 into z by z plus 3. So now what you have to do is, since minus 1 by 5 is constant, you can take it out from the z transformation. So from the z transformation as well as from the inverse z transform also we can take it out if it is any constant. So similarly here also 1 by 5 is constant, we can take it out. Now the question is how to find z inverse of z by z plus 8, and here also z inverse of z by z plus 3. Now just look at this formula. What is the z inverse of z by z minus a is a power n. Okay, so everybody listen. So when you are going for partial fractions, so a by x minus a plus b by x minus b. If you write like this, so if it is 1 by z minus 8 or 1 by z plus 8, so for this we should know we cannot have any inverse z transformation. If we have a z only, then only we can find inverse z transformation. So that is the reason why we have multiplied with z here. Understand? So if you are not multiplying with z, we will get 1 by z plus 8. So for z inverse of 1 by z plus 8, we cannot have any z inverse transformation. So that is the reason why we have multiplied az plus bz by a. So therefore, so z inverse of z by z minus a is a power n. So therefore here z by, so z plus 8 can be written as z of minus 8. So therefore it is minus 1 by 5 my a power n. So here a is 8, so minus 8 whole power n plus 1 by 5 minus 3 whole power n. So why? Because it is general formula is z minus a. So this plus 8 can be written as minus of minus 8. Here also plus 3 can be written as z of minus 3. Okay, so therefore the final answer is this is a un. So un is minus 1 by 5 minus 8 whole power n plus 1 by 5 minus 3 whole power n. Okay, so this way you have to compute inverse Z transformation. So the only important point here is, you just look at it, only important point here is, first you have to find ordinary partial fractions, a by z minus a plus b by z minus b. So but only thing extra is, so if 1 by z minus a, we cannot have any inverse Z transformation. So that is the reason why you have to multiply az by z minus a plus bz by z minus b. So z by z minus a can be written as, z by z minus a can be written as a power n. Here except b, z by z minus b can be written as b power n. Okay, so that is the reason why we have multiplied z here. Okay, so now look at the another example. So z inverse of z by z minus 1 into z square plus 1. Okay, so now here what is u of z is, so this is u of z. So u of z is z by z minus 1 into z square plus 1. So now what you are going to do is, now we are going to divide into partial fractions. So now by partial fractions, what is u of z? Okay, so everybody remember when you have so 1 by x minus a into x square plus 1. How we are going to write partial fractions for this is, in generally a by x minus a plus here x square plus 1. This is irreducible polynomial. So what you are going to do is bx plus c divided by x square plus 1. Okay. Now what you are going to do is, what you have to do extra is, you have to multiply with x in the numerator. Of course here it is in z, but here in terms of x if you are saying, so extra what you have to do is, you just multiply with x extra in the numerator. So why it is, I have told you already reason. So now the partial fractions for this is u of z equals to az by z minus 1 plus bz plus c by z square plus 1 into z. So this is extra terms we have multiplied with this. So now our target is to find a, b, c values. Here a, so b and c. So there are three constants, so that we have to find. So after comparing both sides, z coefficients, z square coefficients are constant, then we will get, so a value is 1 by 2, b value is minus 1 by 2 and c value is minus 1 by 2. Okay, so now once you have a, b, c values, what you are going to do is, you just substitute here. So substitute a value here, so 1 by 2 z divided by z minus 1 plus here b value is minus 1 by 2 z plus c value is minus 1 by 2 into z divided by z square plus 1. So now what you are going to do is, so this is 1 by 2, you can take it out since it is a constant. So z by z minus 1 plus, so you just make it into two parts, minus 1 by 2 multiply with z square by z square plus 1 plus minus 1 by 2 z by z square plus 1. Okay, so now everybody remember only the three steps involved in finding Z transformation, inverse Z transformation. So what you have to do is, first you have to find partial fractions, then find constants. So once you find constants, substitute in the given values. So once you have did partial fractions, the next step is you are going to apply inverse Z transform both sides. So what you are going to do is apply inverse Z transform both sides. So you will get this one. So Z inverse of u of z equals to Z inverse of 1 by 2 into z by z minus 1 plus minus 1 by 2 into z square by z square plus 1 plus minus 1 by 2 into z by z square plus 1. So in the next step what you are going to do is, So you just apply linear property. So Z inverse of, so what is the linear property is Z inverse of, if it is a two functions, so un plus vn, what you are going to do is, so sorry, u of z plus v of z, so you can make it into two parts, Z inverse of u of z plus Z inverse of v of z. So this is called linear property in Z transformations as well as in inverse Z transformations. So now, so since there are three functions here, so what we are going to do is we just separate it. This is one part and this is the second part and this is third part. So now what is Z inverse of Z by Z minus 1? So already we know that, you just remember every time, so Z inverse of Z by Z minus a. So Z inverse of Z by Z minus a is a power n, so here it is 1 power n. Now what is the Z inverse of Z square by Z square plus 1? So now everybody knows that what is a cos n by 2 and what is a sin n pi by 2. So cos n by 2 is Z square by Z square plus 1, sin n pi by 2 is Z by Z square plus 1. So therefore Z inverse of Z square by Z square plus 1 is cos n pi by 2. Similarly Z inverse of Z by Z square plus 1 is sin n pi by 2. So therefore the final answer is this one. So un equals to 1 by 2 into 1 power n minus 1 by 2 into cos n pi by 2 minus 1 by 2 into sin n pi by 2. So therefore this is our required answer. Okay, so now clearly you can understand when you are forming a Z, when you are finding Z inverse of any function, so there are three major steps involved. First one is, first you have to do partial fractions. So once you did partial fractions, you find the constants a, b or a, b, c values. So once you find a, b, c values, you shall substitute, and the next step is apply Z inverse both sides. So once you find Z inverse both sides, so look at what are the Z inverse for this. So if you want to find Z inverse for this is, first you know what is the Z transform for this. So you know that Z transform of cos n by 2 is this one, and Z transform of sin n pi by 2 is Z by Z square plus 1. So if you know this, so clearly you can write Z inverse of this is cos n by 2 and Z inverse of this one is sin n pi by 2. So that is the reason why once you know Z transformations, then only we can find inverse Z transformations, otherwise we cannot find. Okay, so this is the final answer for the given question. So now next very important topic is convolution theorem. Okay, so now this is a statement of convolution theorem. So why we have to use convolution theorem is, convolution theorem is to find inverse Z transformation. Okay, so here very important point you remember. So when the question is given, find Z inverse means you can apply partial fractions. But when your question is asked find Z inverse by convolution theorem means you should apply this concept only. So there is no other way. Okay. So if they are not mentioned by convolution theorem means you can go by partial fractions. If they mention Z inverse by convolution theorem means you should apply this one. Okay. So therefore this is a statement. So if Z inverse of u of z is un and Z inverse of v of z is vn, then Z inverse of u of z into v of z is un star vn. So what the star is here is, so this is called convolution product. So this star we can denote it as convolution product. Okay, so this we call it as convolution product. So convolution, so since it is a product, un star vn is a product, so therefore convolution product. So this convolution product is defined as, so this is un star vn, so this un star vn is defined as sigma m equal to 0 to n, so um into vn minus m. So this is the convolution product definition. So once you find un star vn, how it is defined as sigma m equal to 0 to n um into vn minus 1. Okay, so now first you have to do is, first you have to find what is un and what is vn. Okay, so now the given product you can convert it into two parts, u of z, v of z. So that is your first step. What is your first step is, when the question is given, you have to identify what is u of z, what is v of z. So it is like a product. Once you have u of z, v of z, you have to find un and vn. So what is un is? Inverse z transform of u of z is un. Inverse z transform of v of z is vn. So once you have un and vn, then you have to find this conversion product. Okay, so now we are look at some examples so that you can understand in a better way. Look at the example, first example. So this is a conversion theorem statement. You just remember every time. So now using conversion theorem, find z inverse of z square by z minus 1 into z minus 3. So here in the question itself he has given using conversion theorem. Suppose if they did not mention any this one, you can go by partial fractions. Suppose if they mention using conversion theorem, therefore you have to apply conversion theorem statement and then you have to solve. So now look at the first step is, first you have to identify what is u of z, what is v of z. Okay, so this is your first target. So once you find u of z and v of z, then you have to find what is un and what is vn. So look at this. Now this is given z inverse of z square by z minus 1 into z minus 3. Now if you compare with z inverse of u of z into v of z, so now what is u of z, what is v of z? So this product can be divided into two parts. So z square can be written as z into z. So therefore z by z minus 1, z by z minus 3. This way you have to identify what is u of z and what is v of z. Okay. So now if you compare with z inverse of u of z into v of z, so your first target is to find what is u of z and what is v of z. Okay, so now look at here. So when you are applying conversion theorem, so this is a statement z inverse of u of z into v of z. So now we are identified already. So this is our u of z and this is our v of z. Now according to conversion theorem, what you have to do is, you have to find what is un and what is vn. Now in the clearly statement itself it is told that un is z transform of u of z and clearly vn is z transform of v of z. So now look at, so what is un and what is vn. So z transform of u of z. So therefore z transform of u of z means we find z by z minus 1. So this is z inverse of z by z minus 1. So already we know. So what is a z inverse of z by z minus a formula? So this is a power n. And similarly, so therefore here what we have is z by z minus 1. So in the place of a we have 1. So therefore, so z inverse of z by z minus 1 is 1 power n. So this is our un. So therefore un is 1 power n. Similarly we have to find what is vn. So vn is z inverse of z by z minus 3. So in the place of a we have 3. So therefore vn is 3 power n. Okay, so this way you have to find what is un and what is vn. Okay, so once you have un and vn, so how to find z inverse by conversion theorem is, this is called conversion product. So what you have to do is un star vn. So this we call it as conversion product. So generally conversion product. Okay, so next one is how to find conversion product. So conversion product is defined like this. Okay, so now look at this. This is called conversion product statement. Okay, so now conversion product is given by or defined by, so sigma m runs from 0 to n um into vn minus m. Okay, so now this sigma means in the mathematical we can denote it as a summation and you just multiply these two, um into vn minus m. So you have to run only m. So n is here constant. You can run m from 0 to n. So this way you have to find. So now we look at how to find conversion product. So now by conversion theorem, So Z inverse of U of Z into V of Z defined as Un star Vn. So already I told, so this is called convolution product. Okay, so the convolution product defined as sigma m equal to 0 to n um into Vn minus m. So now already we know what is Un is here 1 power n and what is Vn is 3 power n. Now substitute Un value and Vn value. So Un is 1 power n into star Vn is 3 power n. So that is given by sigma m equal to 0 to n 1 power m into 3 power n minus 1. So it is defined as um. So un is 1 power m. So what is um here? Obviously it is 1 power m. Similarly, so this is 3 power n minus 1. How it is? So Vn is 3 power n. So what is Vn minus m? So obviously it is 3 power n minus m. Okay, so now you can define sigma m equal to 0 to n. If you m runs from 0 to n, so here n is constant. So what are the n terms here? So here, so 1 power m into 3 power n minus m. So here n is constant, 1 power m into, so this 3 power n minus m can be written as 3 power n into 3 power minus m. So since n is constant, you can take it out 3 power n. So what are the remaining terms is, these two are, we have 1 power m into 3 power minus m. So that can be written as, so 1 by 3 whole power m. So the whole thing can be written as 1 by 3 whole power m. So therefore the final value is 3 power n into sigma m equal to 0 to n 1 by 3 whole power m. So now the question is how to simplify this infinite series. So for that you should have the knowledge about geometric series and arithmetic series. So now look at this. For finding this infinite series, so we are going to use arithmetic progression formula. So what is the arithmetic progression is? So for finding sum of the infinite series, so for finding infinite series sum, so the formula is, so a into r power n minus divided by r minus 1. So this is the formula for sum of the n terms in the geometric progression. So here applies, if r greater than 1, you have to apply this formula. Or you have another formula is a into, so 1 minus r power n divided by 1 minus r. So when you have to apply this is, if 1 greater than r. Okay, so here you just look at this. So 3 power n into, this is sigma m equal to 0 to n 1 by 3 whole power m. So here, so this is, how can you represent this is 1 by 3. If you m runs from 0 to n, so 1 by 3 whole power 0 plus 1 by 3 whole power 1 plus 1 by 3 whole square and so on. So this is the infinite series according to this. So now what you have to do is, so if you expand this, okay, now I have to find what is the sum of this series. Okay, so now this can be written as 1 by 3 whole power 0 plus 1 by 3 whole power 1 plus 1 by 3 whole square and so on. So this is, so the now last term is 1 by 3 whole power n. So this is our last term. Okay, so where m runs from 0 to n. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n. So now we can tell how many terms is this? N terms or n plus 1. Since it is 1, 2, 3 n plus this is 1 term. So therefore this is n plus 1 terms. Okay, so these are n plus 1 terms. So if, so here this 1 by 3 is called the common ratio. So this is called r. So if r is less than 1, so what is the formula of sum of the n terms in the geometric series? So the formula is, so a into 1 minus r power n by 1 minus r. Okay, so therefore where a is first term, so first term is 1 minus where r is, so first term a is 1 here and r is the common ratio 1 by 3. So therefore the formula is this one. So this is the sum of the n plus 1 terms in geometric series. So since these are n plus 1 terms, so what you have to write here is, so you have to write in the place of n, you have to write n plus 1. So therefore, so it is 3 power n into a is 1 minus r power n plus 1. So why it is n plus 1? Since these are n plus 1 terms. If it is n terms, whole power n, but it is n plus 1 terms, so divided by 1 minus r. So r is 1 by 3. So therefore say 1 by 3 less than 1. So therefore 3 power n into 3 power n plus 1 minus 1 by 3 power n plus 1 divided by 2. So now if you simplify, so you will get this answer, 3 power n plus 1 minus 1 whole divided by 2. So therefore, so this is the final answer for the given problem. So therefore, by convolution theorem, if you want to find Z transformation, so you should compulsory apply this formula. Okay, suppose for example, simply they ask find Z inverse of u of z. So if they did not ask by convolution theorem, you can apply by partial fractions. Suppose if they ask by convolution theorem means compulsory, so you should apply so this convolution product and you have to find the answer. Okay, so now, so look at the next one is, this is a final topic in the first unit. Okay, so now the topic is applications of Z transformations. So applications of Z transformations. Now in your second semester, what you learn is applications of what is a Laplace transform. What is the Laplace transform applications is solving differential equations. Okay, so now applications of Z transform is solving difference equations. So look at this. This is a differential equations. These are difference equations. So what is the difference between those two? So remember everybody. So what is the difference between difference equations and differential equations? So differential equations, how it look like? So differential equations. So what is the meaning of differential equation is? An equation contains derivative. So an equation contains derivative is called differential equations. So equation contains derivative means this is a second order derivative to d square y by dx square plus dy by dx plus x equal to 0. So this is an example of differential equations. So what is the differential equation is? An equation contains derivatives. So this is an equation contains second order derivative plus first order derivative plus independent variable x. Okay, so this is called differential equation. So now what is a difference equation now? So now what is a difference equation? Okay, so this is solving, we are using Laplace transforms to solve differential equations. Now we are using Z transforms to solve difference equations. Okay, now what is a differential equation? So for differential equations we need functions y of x, y of t or something. But for finding differential equations we need sequences. So what is the difference equation is? It is a relation between sequences. For example, we have a sequence, so un plus 2 plus 2un plus 1 plus un equal to 0. It is an equation which contains sequences. This is an equation contains derivatives. So this is called differential equation. This is called difference equation. So in difference equations we are having sequences. This is a un, and this, of course this is a shifting properties of un. So this is relation between recurrent sequences. This is un plus 1, un plus 2. So difference equation means the relation between these sequences, we call it as difference equation. And whereas a differential equation means an equation which contains derivatives is called differential equations. So using Laplace transforms we solve differential equations. Now using Z transformations we are solving difference equations. Okay, so identify between these two. So now we are going to go by one example. So look at the first example. So before going to solve first example, we need to recall the what is this is so we need to recall. So everybody familiar with this? What is this? Z of un plus k. Okay, so this is z of un plus k. So this is called shifting property. So already we learnt in the previous class itself what is the shifting property. This is called shifting to the left. Okay, so z of un plus k, so z power k into u of z minus u naught minus u1 by z plus u2 by z square minus u3 by z cube and so on, u k minus 1 by z power k minus 1. Okay, so now this is called the shifting property. Already we learned in the previous class. So this we have to apply when you solving difference equations. So why? Because now I will tell. So where we are going to use this shifting property in solving difference equations. So for that, first look at the example 1. Solve the difference equations un plus 2 minus 7 un plus 1 plus 12 un equal to 0. So this is called a difference equation. An equation contains derivatives is called differential equation. An equation contains sequences is called difference equation. So this is relation between the sequence un plus 1, un plus 2. And so, moreover they will give you what is u0 and what is u1 value. So why they have given is, so here if you observe in the shifting property we have what is a u0, what is u1, what is u2, what is u3 and so on. So for substituting these values they should give these values also. So okay, so without these values we cannot solve difference equations. So what you have to give is, so this is a question. So solve the difference equation with u0 1, u1 also 1. Okay. So why they have given is, so for this where you have to substitute. So okay. Now look at this. So now given that un plus 2 minus 7 un plus 1 plus 12 un equal to 0. So when you are solving difference equations, so first step is apply Z transform both sides. So this is your first step. So this is similar like solving differential equations. If you remember in Laplace, when you are applying Laplace transform, the first step is apply Laplace both sides. So similarly here, apply Z transform both sides. So if you apply Z transform both sides, so how you will get is, so you just look at this. So Z transform of un plus 2. So here we will apply Z transform. So this, and here also we will apply Z transform both sides. Okay. So now when you apply Z transform both sides, you will get Z of un plus 2 minus 7 un plus 1 plus 12 un equal to Z of 0. So we will apply Z transform both sides. So Z of 0 is, so obviously 0. Now here apply linear property. So Z of un plus Vn is Z of un plus Z of Vn. So Z of un plus 2 minus 7 Z of un plus 1 plus 12 into Z of un equal to Z of 0. Okay, so now we divided into 3 parts. Now by shifting property, so we know already how to find Z of un plus k. Already we recall that formula in the previous slide. Now we will apply that shifting property formula. So Z of un is, so this is a formula of Z of un. So Z of un plus 2 is z square u of z minus u0 minus u1 by z minus 7 into z of un plus formula. This is a z of un plus 1 formula. U of z into u of z minus u0 plus 12 into z of n is generally we denoted as, so generally we denoted z of un is u of z. Okay, so this is general notation. So u of z equal to z of 0 is 0. Okay, so now what you will do is now apply what is u0, what is u1 form. Already they has given, so u0 equals to 1 and u1 also equals to 1. They has given u0 equals to 1, u1 equals to 1. Substitute those values here, u0 1, u1 1. Now Now if you substitute u0 value, u1 value, so what you will get is, so this you will get, so u0 1, okay, so this is u1 also 1, okay, so here also u0 1. Now what you will do is, you just take u of z is a common. Why? Because u of z is, there are three times u of z, here also there, here also there, here also there. So if you take u of z common, here z square minus 7z plus 12. Okay, so now if you simplify this, what you will get is u of z is z square minus 6z plus divided by z square minus 7z plus 12. Okay, so everybody remember, when you are solving difference equation, so your first step is to apply z transform both sides to the given equation. Now what your target is to find u of z value. So once you know u of z, how to find un? Okay, so now look at this. So next what you will do is, now apply partial fractions. Okay, so what is the u of z is z into z minus 6 by z minus 3 into z minus 4. I have told you already, when you are doing partial fractions, okay, again you just write, of course for this, what are the general partial fractions is a by z minus 3 plus b by z minus 4. These are the general partial fractions. But when you come to z transformations, you have to do one extra thing. I have told you already so many times. What is it is az plus bz by z minus 4. Okay, so you have to do extra is, in the numerator you have to multiply extra with z. So why? Because I have told you the reason already. So why? Because in every z transformation formula, so in the denominator, sorry, numerator there is a z value. So that is the reason why we are multiplied with this. So therefore az by z minus 3 plus bz by z minus 4. So now what you will get is, so we have to find a, b values here. So a value is 3 and b value is minus 2. So now what you are doing is, you substitute a, b values in this equation. So therefore 3z by z minus 3 plus minus 2z by z minus 4. Now next what you have to do is, apply z inverse both sides. Okay, so what are the three major steps involved in solving this? First one is apply z transform both sides, then apply partial fractions. Once you decompose it into partial fractions, then apply z inverse both sides. So these are the three major steps involved in the solving difference equation. So now look at this. So now if you apply z inverse both sides, what you will get is z inverse of u of z equals to, since 3 is constant, you can take it out, 3 into z inverse of z by z minus 3. So since 2 is constant, you can take it out, minus 2 into z inverse of z by z minus 4. So now here already we know this formula, every time we are using, so z inverse of an. So what is the z inverse of an is, so z by z minus a. Okay, so z of an is z by z minus a. So therefore z inverse of, so from this z inverse of z by z minus a is a power n. Okay, so now apply. Now 3 into z by z minus 3 is 3 power n minus 2 into z inverse of this is 4 power n. Okay, so therefore, so this is our required solution. So this is a solution of our given difference equation with conditions u0 1, u1 1. So now here very important point. So you look at it. So now how can you know that whether this solution is correct or not? Everybody remember? So this is a very important concept. We are checking whether the given solution is correct, whether we got the correct solution or not. How can we check? So for that we will do this. So this is a verification part. So this is a verification. So why we have to verify is whether we got the correct solution or not. So how to verify is, since we are given, they are given u0 is 1 and u1 is 1. Okay. So now this solution should satisfy these two conditions. This is our solution, right? So this is our solution. Okay, so now for verification part, So in the question itself they has given u0 is 1, u1 is 1. So these two conditions this solution should satisfy, otherwise the required solution is not correct. Okay, so therefore how to check u0 1 or u1 is 1. So for finding u0, this is un. So if you want to find u0, what you have to do is substitute n equal to 0 in the above solution. So this is our solution. If you substitute n equal to 0, so u0 equals to 3 into 3 power 0 minus 2 into 4 power 0. So therefore it is 3 minus 2, 1. So this is correct. So u0 1 equals to 1. Now we have to check whether u1 equal to 1 or not. So for finding u1, what you do is substitute n equal to 1. If you substitute n equal to 1, so what you will get is u1 equals to 3 into 3 power 1 minus 2 into 4 power 1. So 3 into 3, 9 minus 2 into 4, 8, 9 minus 8 is 1. Okay. So now this way you have to check whether we got the correct solution or not. Okay. So otherwise, if you not verified this, so by mistake if you got a wrong answer, so you cannot know that whether you got a right or wrong. So therefore what you have to do is at the end of the solution you just verify it. So this no need to prove, for your clarification, so you have to verify this. So if you have to get the correct initial conditions, u0 1, u1 1, then in this case we have got the correct solution. Okay, so now this way you have to check for the verification part. Okay, so now this is the applications of jet transformation. So this way you have to solve the difference equation. So remember there are three major parts. So first one is apply jet transform both sides. This is the first step. Then second step is next decompose into partial fractions, and next one is apply jet inverse both sides. So these are the three major steps involved in solving difference equations. Okay, so now I will go for the summary of the first unit. So up to now what we discussed. Okay, so this is a summary of the unit 1. In the first unit we discussed the following topics. So what are those is a definition of a jet transform. Okay, so what is the definition of a jet transform? So everybody look at it. So z of un equals to sigma n equal to 0 to infinite un into z to the power minus n. Okay, so this is the definition of jet transform. So remember n runs from 0 to infinite. Okay, so now what is the next one is damping rules we discussed. Shifting properties. So what are the damping rules is when any function is multiplied with a power n, like a power n un or a power minus n un. So any sequence is multiplied with a power n or a power minus n. In this case we are applying damping rules. And what are the shifting properties? So shifting properties already we know. So once if you know un, okay, so how to find un plus k? This is one shifting property, and un minus k. So this is the one shifting property. Okay, so these two called shifting properties in jet transformation. So when you have to apply damping rules, any sequence is multiplied with a power n or a power minus n, you have to apply damping rules. And shifting properties, if un is given, from the un how to find un plus k, un minus k. So these are called shifting properties. Okay, so these are the second part. Now what is the third part? Jet transform of a sequence multiplied by n and multiplied with 1 by n, or we can say that divided by n. Okay, so this is the third part. The fourth part is initial and final value theorems. I have told you already what are the initial value theorems is. So if u of z is given or f of z is given, how to find u0, u1, u2 and so on. So this is called initial value theorem in jet transformation. Similarly, what is the final value theorem? So final value theorem means how to find limit n tends to infinity un. If you have u of z is given, so they will give you u of z, how to find limit n tends to infinity un. So this is called final value theorem in Z transformation. So next topic is inverse Z transformation and convolution theorem. So inverse Z transformations, that means if you know the Z transformation, then only we can apply inverse Z transformation and convolution theorem. So convolution theorem is to find inverse Z transformation. Okay, so finding inverse Z transform is, so two ways. First one is by partial fractions. Okay, so second one is by convolution theorem. So first one is by partial fractions. By partial fractions, and the second one is by convolution theorem. Okay, so now suppose in the question itself, if they ask solve by convolution theorem, means you should solve by convolution theorem only. Suppose if they did not mention, therefore what you have to do is you have to apply by partial fractions. Okay, so this is the fifth topic. Now the final is solution to the difference equations. Okay, so now these are the topics we discussed in the first unit. So we'll look at this. I have given some of the questions. You just try to solve it. So the quiz is, so how to find the inverse Z transform of 8z minus z cube by 4 minus z whole square. So here they did not ask by convolution theorem. So what you have to do is you just go by partial fractions. So what are the partial fractions for this? 8z minus z cube divided by 4 minus z whole square. So what are the partial fractions for this? If you look at the denominator, what you have? X minus a whole square, like this. So therefore what you have to do is, so a by 4 minus z plus b by 4 minus z whole square. Now we have to do extra thing. What is that? You have to multiply with z. Az plus, here it is bz. Okay, so now this way you have to prove. So now for finding this, what is a z by 4 minus z or z by z minus 2, you can apply z inverse for this. So now what is the inverse z transform this? You just think z by 4z minus whole square. Okay, so for finding this, for what z transform in the denominator having z minus 4 whole square. Look at it. Of course in the z is there, z by z minus 4 whole square. For what z transform we have this. Okay, so just think it, then we can find the inverse z transform for the given first problem. Okay, so now find the convolution product of 1 by n factorial star 1 by n factorial. So what is the convolution product for this? So I have told you already what is the convolution product is sigma m equal to 0 to n. So u m v n minus m. Okay, so this is a convolution product. You just think, so this is also un, this is vn. So both are same. So un, 1 by n factorial is un and 1 by 1 factorial is vn. Then you can apply convolution product. So the convolution product is defined like this. Okay, so now you just find using convolution product. Now solve the difference equations un plus 2 minus 4 un plus 1 plus 3 un equals to 5 power n with u0 equals to 0, u1 equals to 1. I have told you already. So these are the two initial conditions. Okay, so with this you have to verify whether you got the correct solution or not. So now how to apply? So for solving difference equations there are three major steps involved. First, apply Z transform both sides. This is the first step. And the second step is decompose into partial fractions. And the third step is apply Z inverse both sides. That means inverse Z transform both sides. So these are the three major steps involved in solving the difference equation. So once you have the solution, so how to verify is, if you substitute n equal to 0, you have to get u0 and that is 0. and if you substitute n equal to 1, what you have to do is u1 equals to 1 you have to get. So when you got the solution un, so when you solve this you will get un. Okay. Now, so how to verify is, if you substitute n equal to 0, you will get u0 0. If you substitute n equal to 1, you have to get u1 equals to 1. So this way you have to check whether you got the correct solution or not. Okay, so now look at the next problem is, so using conversion theorem, find z inverse of e power 1 by z into e power 1 by z. So now he is asked using conversion theorem. So that means you should apply conversion theorem only. So what you do is, you just make it, this is un and this is vn. So this is u of z and v of z. So okay, so this is u of z, this is v of z. So you have to find the inverse z transform for this. What is the inverse z transform of e power 1 by z? So please look at. Similarly, what is inverse z transform of e power? So u of z, v of z are same. So then apply conversion theorem. Okay. So now look at the next one. What is the difference between differential equation and a difference equation? In the previous slide itself I have explained what is the differential equation. So an equation contains derivatives is called differential equation. Okay, so differential equation, an equation contains the derivatives. So that means dy by dx plus y equal to 0. So this is a differential equation. Now what is the difference equation? So this is a differential equation. So now what is the difference equation? So this is a differential equation. Now what is the difference equation is? So like un plus 1 plus 4un equal to 0. An equation contains the sequences is called difference equation. Okay, so this is a sequence un and un plus 1. The relation between un and un plus 1 is called difference equation. Okay, so we just try to solve all those problems. So if you have any doubts, so please feel to ask. Okay, so now with this we are completing the first unit. Okay, so now thank you very much.